Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day to all students. Now we are going to move to the second chapter. Okay, sustainable transportation. Okay, when we talk about sustainability, okay, we cover too many framework or angle. Jadi banyaklah aspek kelestarian. Sustainability itu kelestarian atau kemampanan. So kita boleh start dengan energy, water, zero waste, mobility, environmental, built environment, ecosystem, uh, food and health, economic creativity, equity, livability, and climate. So there are broad of angle or framework to be looked into that relate to the sustainability. Okay, now we look at sustainability in transportation itself. Okay, sustainability is equity and harmony extended into future and careful journey without endpoint and continuous striving for harmonious co-evaluations of environmental, economic, social, cultural goals. So this quote by Megger and Pedersen. Okay, the capacity of continuance into a long terms, anything can do being done in indefinite basis sustainable. Anything that cannot be anything cannot go being done indefinitely is unsustainable. So we have to deal with something that we can maintain the needs or the ecosystem itself. So we're not doing something that will be give harmful or some bad effect or affected our life ecosystem, including in transportation itself. We need the transport, but we have to ensure there is something give good impact to the society, to the environmental, to the ecosystem. Okay, next, according to the OECD, I think this is the economical organization, developed country, I think so. Environmentally sustainable transport (EST) is transport that does not anger and endanger public health or ecosystem, that meet the need for access consistent with the use of renewable resources at below their rate of regenerations, and non-renewable resources at below rate of development and renewable substitute. So like I just stressed previously, about we have to maintain, or we have renewable resources that can contribute to the ecosystem. So not give harmful or endanger public health. Okay, a sustainable transport system is the one that is accessible, safe, environmental friendly, and affordable. This according to European Conference of Minister of Transportation. Okay, according to CTS, sustainable transport is one that allow the basic access need of individual and society to be met safely and manner of consistent with human and ecosystem health and with equity within between the generation. So it cover many things. It cover many things, many factor, or many groups. Not only for human, but the whole part of the society or the world. Is affordable, operate efficiently, offer choice of good transport, and support vibrant economies. So it gives some opportunity or some additional in terms of providing livable or sustainable to the transport system, and also relate to economic aspect as well. Okay, limit emission and waste within the planet ability to absorb them, minimize consumption of non-renewable resources, limit consumption of renewable resources to sustainable level reuse and recycle its components, and minimize the use of land and the production of noise. So you look at this aspect, they more related to the environmental impact of issue. This according to CTS, CST, sorry. Okay, if we look at this chart, we can break into three parts for sustainability goals. Okay, we can focus on economy, social, and environmental. In economy, that relate to economic productivity, local economic development, resources efficiency, affordability, operational efficiency. Okay, for social, equity and fairness, safety and security, community development, cultural heritage, preventions, public fitness and health. So for environmental aspect, climate change prevention and mitigations, this is quite big issue now. Global warming, climate change is quite serious and critical issue. Noise, air, noise, water pollution prevention. So we can see critically nowadays. A lot of the pollution come from the transport sector. We can avoid that, and also the noise also come also from the part of the transportation system operations. Non-renewable resources conversions, open space preservations, biodiversity protections. So we need to look into this critical factor or issue. Yeah, it almost cover the need of the sustainability, and that also related in the transportation system. Okay, if you look in terms of liability reflect sustainability impact that directly affect people in community, such as local economic development, affordability, public health and safety, and local environmental impact. So, if we concern about this factor or these situations, so we have to concern the cause and effect on development, especially for society. And in transportation also, we cannot avoid that. So we have to put a concern. Okay, principle of livability. Okay, first, provide more transportation choices, which is develop safe, reliable, and economical transport choices to decrease household transportation costs. So nowadays it's quite easy to buy a car, to buy a personal car or personal vehicle, private vehicle. And the price now affordable. But somehow it's not good. Just let all the public rely on private vehicle itself. So we have to develop and provide the services for public transportation as well, to give a better management or services to a sustainable um, activity for urban transport. Reduce dependence of fuels. Yeah, more we use our private vehicle or own ownership of own vehicle, so it create demand of fuel consumption, and also emission from the vehicles, greenhouse effect, air quality, and also promote public health. If the accident involving majority vehicle from private category, we heard less accident happen in public transport vehicle. Okay, promote equitable, affordable housing, expand location efficient and energy efficient housing choice for all people to increase mobility and low combined costs of housing and transportation. So it's not quite easy to provide this kind of the need or the the best option to the public or the people. But somehow, as engineers or transport planner or developer, what more for authorities, we have to think about this one. Okay, enhance economic competitiveness, improve economy competitiveness through reliable and timely access, employ center educational opportunities, services and other basic needs by worker, as well as expanded business to access market segment. So this is part of the economy activities. So the progression of a nation or a country, it also rely on the economic activities. But somehow we have to see the competitiveness of activity as well in economy. Okay, next, support existing community. Target federal funding towards existing economy, no, towards existing community through strategy like transit oriented, mixed use of development and land recycling to increase community revitalizations and the efficiency of public work investment and safeguard rural landscape. Okay, we need also this kind of the approach. Okay, next, coordinate and leverage federal policy and investment. Align the align the federal policies and funding to remove barrier to collaborate. So this some sort of the red tape or what we call some protocol, some procedure that somehow make a constraint to deal with. Leverage funding and increase accountability and effectiveness of all level governments to plan for future growth. So we need the kind of the improvement or mutual relation activities. Okay, next, value community and neighbors. So enhance the unique characteristic for all community by investing in health, safe, and walkable neighborhood. So we also rely on the community and neighborhood side, because part of the uh, land use occupied by residential area and also housing area surrounding with neighborhood, that they interact each other with the transport, with the society. So we have to carry about the value for community and neighborhood itself, in terms of healthy, safe, and pleasant environment for all. Okay, if you look at this picture, they give some message. Livable community are good for people and businesses. Say it kind of harmony to provide ideal the need for the community and the business development. So you see, high properties value, increase economic activity, and saving for community are some of the benefit. You will learn about the liability economy. So yeah, in economic activity or economic aspect, we need this kind of the cooperation from the all stakeholder, the all related party, including the community as well. Okay, sustainable transport objective. First, improve transport system diversity. So this generally mean improving walking, cycling, ride sharing, public transit, car sharing or carpool, telework, and local delivery service, and creating more walkable and oriented or transit-oriented communities. So we have look into this kind of the option to be incorporated in the transport system diversity. The next smart growth land use developments. This include the land policies that create more compact, mixed, connected, multimodal development and provide more affordable housing in accessibility multimodal location. Okay, next, energy conversions and emission reductions. This may include more or few efficient vehicles. Okay, shift to alternative fuels. Nowadays we look trend to have hybrid car. I think there's a lot car manufacturer, they produce hybrid car, but they now go to the EEV, efficient energy efficient vehicles. Okay, perhaps for sustainability, they use electric vehicles, and solar vehicles, solar based on solar energies. Okay, this include improving quality of energy efficiency mode, including walking, cycling, ride sharing, public transit, telework, and increase land use accessibility. So not only focus on motorized vehicle, but including as well the non-motorized vehicle, especially for walking and cycling. Yeah, ride sharing part of the activity and we can introduce. But in our society, the shared riding is not quite popular. Ada yang orang buat kan, tapi tak berapa menjadi pilihan lah. Setengah keadaan ada orang suka shared riding untuk pergi berlibur, pergi ke mana, pergi beraktiviti lah kan. A few just apply for ride sharing to going to work. Adalah tapi tak ramai. Satu lagi ada isu juga berkenaan yang setengah-setengah orang dia tak suka berkongsi dan setengah masyarakat juga mengkritik ataupun sukar menerima situasi perkongsian kenderaan berlainan gender dan juga bukan mahram. Ini pun cabaran juga. Okay, efficient transport pricing. So this include cost-based price of roads, parking, insurance, fuel, and vehicle itself. So this is the total cost that to be covered for transport pricing itself. Similar like when we buy a car or buy our own vehicles, our transport, we have to include the cost from the not only the price of the vehicle to be covered, but also the maintenance, the operations, insurance, fuel tu macam operation lah kan. Okay, maintenance satu hal lagi so itu semua cover dalam cost transport itu untuk individu, tak individu pun semua sekali lah untuk private vehicle, public vehicle pun sama juga. Dia pun datang daripada syarikat juga kalau public transport, so dia ada fleet management kan to be consider. Okay, if you look the roadmap or target so we have visions, objective, target, outcome, and to be evaluated as performance indicator. So from here we start to what we ultimately to achieve. What is our goals? What is our mission or our target? Okay, way to achieve the goal is specific, reasonable, measurable objective that we want to achieve. This sound like a very specific target. Ultimate change in activity and impact as outcome to be evaluated, and this the indicator to represent as output from the outcome. Specific factors that are measured to indicate progress toward the goals. Okay, sustainable transport indicator. So indicator are things that we measure to evaluate progress towards goal and objective. Indicator can be reflect various level of analysis. Okay, we start from decision making, responses, cumulative impacts, human and environmental impacts, and economic impacts. If you look for this particular for this particular factor, okay, in decision making we look at quality of planning, pricing policies, and etc. So for responses we look at travel pattern, mode choice. The mode choice is the transport option, whether to use public or private transport. The land use pattern, etc. Okay, in the cumulative impact, we might have accident, accessibility, transport cost, etc. Okay, human and environmental impact, it involves some injuries and death. This to be paid, the cost to be paid, not only for the individual, but government also paid the cost, affect the road accident as well. Ecological damage, etc. In terms of economic impact, we have cost of damage, mitigation, and compensation of the cost that provided from insurance or manufacturers, infrastructures. So many sources that we consider to be covered under the damage and the compensation. Okay, economic indicator. So as indicator, we have user satisfactions that we can measure actually. This one, commute time. Okay, employment accessibility, land use mix, and vehicle travels. So this one just a description for this indicator. Okay, next we have transport diversity. Okay, mode share, congestion level, crash cost, and cost efficiency. So this part of economic indicators. Okay, for social indicators, remember we have three main factors: economic, societal, and environment. Okay, the second one, social indicator. So we have user rating, okay, safety, okay, we have fitness, we have community livability. Okay, next we have cultural preservations. So non-drivers, affordability, non-motorized transport. So this cover to social indicator that they have a special task to look in detail. Okay, the last one, the third factors, which is under environmental indicators. So we look into the climate change, okay, air pollution, noise pollution, water pollution, and land use impact. Because when we construct the infra for transport, of course, we have to consider the land use development. Okay, next, habitat protection, habitat fragmentations, and resources efficiency. Okay, these are some example. What they have practiced for transportation indicator, especially that they are using genuine progress index for sustainable transportation frameworks, evaluation framework in Canada. So they have the objective. The objective is decrease economically excessive motor vehicle transport and increase use of more sustainable mode. So these are the challenges they're going to achieve. So they want to minimize or reduce the number of motor vehicles itself, but to up or to increase more others mode of the transport as sustainable. Okay, the indicator, they can numbers the motorized movement people, motorized movement of freight. Freight represent for the services, good, and the thing to be transported. Okay, passenger automobile per capita. So So this indicator, if they can turn this to maximum in terms of operations and reduce the target, so they can achieve their objective. Okay, second one, decrease energy consumption. This one related to energy consumption itself. The use of fuel, the use of what we call some sort of material to do vehicle operation. Not only the fuel, but any other materials, any other fuel base banyak macam minyak silinder kan, pelbagai berkenaan dengan energy consumption. Okay, decrease fossil fuel energy. This one directly focus on fuel from petrol and diesel. Okay, energy intensity car and trucks. Okay, decrease greenhouse gas emission. So this impact also come from the transportation activity, transport-related GHG emission by mode and per capita, and decrease emission of air pollutants. Okay, the total transport emission of air pollutant by mode and per capita. Okay, next, decrease water pollution discharged by the mode. Okay, increase recycling and reuse of transportation components. These are the number of tire recycled, number of derelict car recycled. Decrease space taken up by transport facilities. Okay, about the space taken by transport facility mode, the length of paved road, especially for rail-based transport. So they are taken much space to build their track, to build their terminal, to build their station. Okay, next, increase access to the basic services. Okay, average community distance, percentage of child working schools to be measured. Okay, increase access to public transport. Okay, the percentage of population living within 500 meter, one of transit station. This quite difficult to be target. It's not easy within 500 meters, very short distance actually. Kalau kat jalan tu mungkin dalam memang setengah kilometer tapi jarak dia sangat dekat. Mungkin tak sampai 10 minit berjalan. Maksudnya every 10 minit we provided access to public transport. It's good actually. It's good in neighborhood, in community, but it's quite difficult to provide such a frequency of the access to the public transport. Okay, increase access to the internet. This is the very neat one, because now people are rely on internet-based activities. Percent of population with home internet, working from home. Now we have situation for work from home. WSF. Okay, next, decrease transport injury and fatality. So this is quite crucial thing. So we are also facing this kind of problem. So we target every year we turn down the numbers, but the accident numbers still increasing. But we can deal with the fatality index. Okay, number of injury and fatality by mode. So we are quite critical because we have more than 50% private vehicle operate in our highways or in our roads. So and majority accident involve private vehicle, especially from motorcycle. Okay, increase non-motorized transport, quality of walking and cycling conditions, total length of bike path and sidewalk. Okay, this the list that not going to be important part, especially in our country. So we can see there is a few location that provide the need for non-motorized facilities, but majority doesn't provide this kind of the approach. increased percentage of net government spending on the public transportation. Yeah, our government is quite progressive in providing good transportation for the public, especially when they introduce rail-based. The recent one is MRT. Is quite significant in terms of the transportation services and capability. Okay, next, increase proportion of household and transportations spending devoted to public transits. Okay, percentage of household transport spending devoted to public transits. Okay, decrease cost of household transportation expenditure in low income quintile. Okay, a percentage of low income household expenditure dedicated to transportations. So I think this one is more focused on the household aspect. How we going to give their affordable needs, especially when they need kind of the transportation services or accessibility. Okay, next, social and environmental impact on transportations. Okay, this is quite a big issue nowadays because everyone has highlighted in terms of the environmental issue. Even they have the standard and procedure, even the protocol. Have you heard about Kyoto Protocol? Yeah, that's one is the target to reduce of pollution, especially for carbon footprint, emission from the CO2 or monoxide, and the fossil fuels, and the energy as well. They want to be a good practice around the world. So many countries has signed the Kyoto Protocol. I think since more than last maybe 20 years, they start to practice Kyoto Protocol. What you heard, Kyoto Protocol is the band group. Many new generation know Kyoto Protocol from the band group. It's not the band group actually, so it's the procedure and the statute. Like the macam undang-undang juga lah. Protokol tu macam undang-undang lah. Undang-undang yang kita kena patuhi lah. Tapi yang sign kena agree lah untuk abide the protocol. Okay, the effect of the car on environment situation. If you see this scenario, over 99% of cars sold, this period is 2012, still use the external combustion engines with cause of the CO2 emission. So this one is great. The air pollution. So also give effect to carbon footprint, to emission, monoxide, carbon monoxide. Okay, this carbon fossil fuel like petrol and diesel, which they give off carbon dioxide. So they create more effect on carbon dioxide. So yeah, our environmental so cover too many carbon dioxide. So this is not good situation. It create effect for the greenhouses. So yeah, we need carbon dioxide, but not much, not so much. Not so much. So we have to lesser the effect of emission from these gases. Okay, the third, the US has the second highest level of CO2 emissions in the world, followed by China. Oh, but this one, this one you see, the China is the leading in terms of the carbon emission production or carbon emission contribute to the pollution. What a great they have produced too many waste and too many pollution in the world. Okay, if you look at this one, 50% man-made CO2 emission globally from transport. So in transport sector, it contribute 50% production of the CO2 or emission of CO2. Okay, 20% Earth greenhouse effect gases and 30% greenhouse gas in the US come from transport. Wow! In the US itself, the effect of uh, air pollution is come from the transport itself. 30% is quite dominant. It's not small numbers. Okay, next, number 4. Motor vehicle emission causes. Okay, 72% of the nitrogen oxide, 52% reactive hydrocarbons. Both of these emissions released into air greatly damage to the ozone layer, or this quite critical one. Not only in our environments, but it affect up to the sky, sampai ke ozone layer effect dia. Okay, 5. This emission cause high temperature and have caused severe disaster like storm, flood, drought, and they also jeopardize access to the clean drinking water and cause death and serious disease. So from this kind of the activity that we produce actually, or the human produce, the humankind activity produce, affect our system up to the sky that give the bad impact or disaster to us. Maksudnya hasil kerosakan di atas muka bumi ni datang daripada puncanya tangan-tangan kita juga. So yang dalam Al-Quran pun ada perkara ni, tangan-tangan manusia yang merosakkan manusia. So this is the evidence. Okay, 6, in 2012, diesel and gasoline powered vehicle produce 1.511 million metric ton of CO2. So which is 1.5 billion. Kan? 1,000 is 1,000 million is 1 billion. So 1.5 billion ton of carbon CO2. Oh, it's huge. Okay, 7. 1 metric ton of carbon CO2 equal to 3 square meter of melted Arctic ice. Wow, it's quite big size. 3 meter square, quite big size. The size of small room. 3 meter square. 3 meter square. Or 3 meter square, not small room. I think like a toilet size. But still consider huge if in terms of the number metric ton here. You imagine here they stated 1,511, but this one only 1 metric ton. This means we can double to 9 digit. Wow. Okay, 2,500 miles of driving equal to 3 meter square melted ice. Okay, is this consider less if in terms of the individual activities. But for cumulative, it great or huge impact. Okay, next, number 8. This lead to rising sea level and threaten coastal system and low-lying area. So it might affect our land, our society, or our surrounding. You can see the effect this disaster also reported in the news or the televisions show that some area affected of the kind of the disaster. Okay, Animals are disappearing 114 faster than they should be of the climate change, pollution and deforestation. So these the consequences of our own activity to the land use development. Okay, 80% of lung disease are caused by pollution from car, truck, and other vehicles. Yeah, nowadays people know the critical of the smoking habit. Yeah, everyone agree. Smoking is bad habit, give effect to your lung. Yeah, we agree 100%. Yes, but in terms of the pollution from the vehicle emission, it also contribute to our lung disease. So 80%. Oh, this is very very critical. And yet we just what you call we just do nothing, or we just not concerned about this. The fact shown, yeah, the critical 80% is quite uh, percent numbers to be worried. Okay, next. In 2013, MIT study, maybe Massachusetts Institute of Technology, found that approximately 53,000 people are killed annually by car emission that cause pollution in the US. Wow, quite surprising. They relate car emission into this matter. Yeah, I thought something with accident activity or accident, accident factor. But this one they relate to emission. Oh, quite surprising. And to be considered quite significant number. 53,000. Yes. Okay, next, environmental issue with the cars. Okay, of course, a high demand for fuel increase offshore drilling. So the need to supply and demand from the uh, automotive sector or motorization. Issue related to dispose of used motor oil and coolants. Yeah, we have some waste here from the engine and maintenance. Okay, CO2 emission and refrigerant leak impact the global warming. Yeah, sometimes we cannot avoid this one, and it's happened in many vehicles. Toxic fume from the plastic and fabrics, leak wheel weight and copper brake dust. Yeah, we have a lot of the contribution here from the vehicle operations, the waste itself. Disposal and used tire are recyclable plastic. But in terms of tire, so they have some option to do recycling. But in terms of unrecyclable plastic, this quite challenging. Sebab tak boleh buat apa ni plastik yang tak boleh recycle. In terms of the tire, okay lah, still lagi ada benda yang kita boleh recycle. Okay, if you look this infographic that contribute to the world in terms of the environmental and health impact issue on transport. Total car on the road roughly 700 million. 700 million, near to the billion. Okay, predicted car in 2020 year now. In year now, in present year, 1 billion. Yeah, now we have about 1 billion vehicle moving on the road, including old car or new car, of course. Okay, projected oil consumption by car at US rate in 2020. How much this one? 100,000. This one close to billion. Oh, 870 billion. Close to trillion. 870 billion gas a year. Too huge. in terms of fuel consumption in US itself. Okay, projected carbon emission from car at US rate by 2020. How much this number? 13 trillion pound. The total weight or total volume of the carbon emission in the US in a year 2020. 13 trillion. Wow, quite huge number. Okay, next, health effect of the traffic noise. Health effect of traffic noise. Okay, impair communication, disturb sleep, difficulty with performance, annoying, increased aggression, heart disease and hypertension, hearing impairment. Yeah, this traffic noise contribute this kind of the weakness or impairment. Okay, health effect of traffic air pollution. Cause acute respiratory problem, temporary decrease in lung capacity, inflammation of tissue, impair body immune system, reduce release of oxygen to body tissues, increase risk of cancer. Lead to that, contribute birth defect, low birth weight, okay, harm blood vessel, make healthy advice, active children to more or 4 times likely develop asthma. So they will affected our lifestyle or our healthy, our health issue in society. Okay, next, road traffic accident. So we cannot deny this evidence. So annual cost of the road accident itself, 230 billion. Okay, it involved 1.2 million people die each year. So now our situation for COVID, more than I think 1.5 billion. So people also die because of the traffic accident. 1.2 million. Quite big number. In terms of accident injuries, 50 million. So every day there are 3,300 people dead and 6,600 injury in the world, in our country. Yeah, every year we facing about 6,000, close to 7,000 death per year. And we have more than I think 50,000 injuries, including serious and damage injuries. Okay, about 850,000 deaths involved, age under 45 years. So this consider a middle or still elder to young generations. Okay, next, full impact of motor vehicle crashes. Okay, we see this info chart or infographic figure. Okay, for every person killed in motor vehicle crash, 8 people are hospitalized. 99 people were treated and released from emergency department. So you just imagine, we can double or we can multiply these numbers. If in our country, in Malaysia itself, we have 6,000, let's say 6,500. Sometimes it goes to 7,000. So very scary. If we put 6,000, so 6,000 killed, so multiply by 8, which means 20, 24,000. Yeah, 24,000. No, 6 multiplied by 48,000. 48,000 to be hospitalized. So this one multiplied by 18 hours. Too many people we involved in terms of the